Alrighty, I think we fixed it. I hope we fixed it. Sorry for the delay. Sorry for all of that confusion, guys. I was confused why my screen was very, very zoomed in, and I was just trying to figure out what was going on. We got some new things added to the stream today, so I want to test them out and see if they work. So let me know if you guys want to chat it up in the comment section. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions on this frustrating loss that the Boston Celtics just suffered. I'll get into my little introduction here in a little bit, breaking down what my personal thoughts were for this game. But I want to know your guys' thoughts as well, because unfortunately the Celtics did fall short again tonight versus this Denver Nuggets team, losing 115 to 109. Nikola Jokic was just unstoppable for the Denver Nuggets. Jaylen Brown did have his season high this year, which was fantastic for the Celtics as he tried to, put the team on his back and claw them to victory. But an unfortunate performance from Jason Tatum tonight, realistically, and the Celtics just struggling with the turnovers, struggling with free throws, and struggling on the defensive side of the ball and not being locked in, unfortunately cost them this loss. My honest opinion, I think that the Celtics kind of need this as a wake-up call, but we'll have to wait and see how they kind of adjust to this, because it is going to be something that they desperately need. Let me see this and try this. But yeah, I want to try something new here, so we'll see if it works. And it's, of course, not working. So that's great. But yes, like I mentioned, unfortunately for the Boston Celtics, they did suffer a loss to the Denver Nuggets, which was not on my cards. I realistically thought that the Celtics were going to come out hot and they were going to take control of this game, but it just did not happen. They did seem to struggle versus Nikola Jokic. He had an absolute masterclass performance. If we want to look and some of the stats and kind of break down my personal thoughts and opinions on this game. And like I said, let me know what you guys think as well in the chat below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Like I mentioned, the Celtics came out. Jason Tatum didn't have the greatest performance, 5 for 13 from the field, 15 total points. Kristaps Porzingis did solid against Nikola Jokic. 3 for 10 from 3 was not the greatest, though. Celtics did struggle from 3, but he finished with 24 points and 12 rebounds and played, pretty solid defense. Derek White, not a great shooting night for him as well. Over 4 from the field, but 5 total rebounds and 6 total assists, dishing out and helping the Celtics out in every way. And like I mentioned, Jaylen Brown had his season high, 42 points tonight with 13 rebounds and 4 total assists, 2 for 7 from 3, 16 from 29 from the field, and 8 for 15 from free throw. Like I mentioned, the Celtics did struggle from that free throw, and that is what realistically hurt us in this game, because in my honest opinion, I think that if the Boston Celtics dominated from the free throw range, they could have been in this game, and we could have easily been able to beat this Denver Nuggets team. From the bench, we saw Xavier Tillman have some solid minutes guarding in the first quarter versus Nikola Jokic. He only did finish with 2 total points and 4 total rebounds, but I am liking what I'm seeing out of Xavier Tillman, and I truly think he could be a piece for this future. Sam Hauser had a decent game as well, hitting 2 for 3 from the 3, and also having some great defense in the paint, finishing with 1 total block. And Al Horford, 2 points as well, and Peyton Pritchard didn't really do that much on the offensive side of the ball. We want to look at the Denver Nuggets, like I mentioned. The Celtics did do solid on the offensive rebounding tonight, which I thought was very, very perplexing, because that is a big focal point and a big issue that the Celtics have struggled with this season. But ultimately, they did solid in the first half. Jaylen Brown getting a career high of 6 total offensive rebounds as he was fighting for that. But unfortunately for the Celtics, it just late in the game was not there. Obviously, Aaron Gordon was cleaning up that glass and being a great protector alongside Nikola Jokic. And like I mentioned, Nikola Jokic was unstoppable. 32 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, 11 for 18, and 10 for 10 from a free throw. And their bench players also came to play compared to the Celtics. We saw Peyton Watson have a big game, 5 for 9 from the field with 4 total rebounds, but getting some big-time blocks, finishing with 11 points and a plus 11. Justin Holiday looked solid on the defensive side. Same thing with Reggie Jackson and Christian Braun. They were able to hit their shots. And ultimately, this Denver Nuggets team just came like they were ready and wanted to win this more than the Boston Celtics did. If we want to look at the Celtics team stats as well, you guys can see that the Nuggets outshot the Boston Celtics from the field. The Celtics and Nuggets both shot terribly from three-point range. The Celtics shooting a pretty low percentage of under 30%, where the Nuggets shot even below that, under 20%. But the Celtics' major discrepancy here, as you can see, is in the free throw department, as they shot 64% from the free throw compared to the Denver Nuggets, who shot a 90% And obviously, you can say that some of those technicals were a little bit of bogus for the Celtics, but the Nuggets did get some of those back in the second half. And unfortunately for the Celtics, they just weren't able to capitalize on those second chance points and getting that. The rebounds was all right. The Celtics, like I mentioned, did offensive rebound out versus the Denver Nuggets, but it seemed like the Denver Nuggets in the second half were just able to box out and be able to get those second chance points more than the Celtics squad. They also played more effective on the defensive side of the ball, getting 10 total steals compared to the Celtics 3 and 1 more total block. Celtics did have 3 more turnovers, and that does happen, but the Nuggets did score more points in the paint as well. Nuggets just seemed like they wanted it more. They seemed like they clicked more. It seemed like they were ready to go. We had a bad game. We're going to sharpen up and come back stronger in that Suns game. I totally agree, T. Snizzle. I think that the Celtics are officially going to bounce back. I'm praying that this team can bounce back ultimately. Like we mentioned, they're obviously going to have these hiccups. Celtics, this is the first time that they've lost 2 games back-to-back since November, where they lost to the Timberwolves and to the Sixers, which ultimately will be fine for this team. I really, really think that this Celtics team will be A-okay once we get down to the nitty-gritty of it, to the end of it. I feel confident in this squad, and I truly, realistically think that, even though they had a bad performance tonight, Jaylen Brown played great. They gotta just wake up on the defensive side, fix those little minor issues that they had with the turnovers, and kind of just locking in, because this Denver Nuggets team was clearly locked in from the second that the game tipped off. And the Celtics were too, you know what I mean? They did bring some physicality. They did try their best. But at some points, it looked like there was a little bit of lackadaisical defense. It looked like at some points, the Celtics were very sloppy with their turnovers, very sloppy with their passing. Multiple times where they were passes back to the three-point line for Kristaps Porzingis, for Jrue Holiday, for Jaylen Brown, and they just clearly fumbled the pass, and, Peyton Watson or Reggie Jackson's just easily there to, just grab a nice, quick, easy cookie, get a steal, and be able to score in transition. And the Celtics ultimately, versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, had awful and terrible transition defense tonight. All right, it was pretty decent, but not what you would expect from the Celtics squad. Ultimately, though, it was really frustrating as a person for me. I'm, on the East Coast. I don't know how many of you guys are also on the East Coast, but if you stayed up late for this game and wanted to ensure yourself seeing a great victory, then it honestly was a disappointment. Honestly, I just don't really know. This commentary is funny. Are you talking about me, or are you talking about like Joe and all of them? Fortunately, the Celtics, yeah, we're going to hear some more. As I'm watching the Celtics right now, we got Joe here talking. He's probably going to address some stuff. We'll have some more stuff to break down as well. But like I mentioned, it's just an unfortunate loss for this team, and we got just a very, very difficult thing for them. I don't know what's going on with my laptop. I'm sorry if this is like lagging or skipping or doing whatever. I'm trying my best here, and my laptop is just not performing, just like the Celtics have just, not really been doing their best tonight. My laptop's not doing the greatest at 12:47 in the a.m. This has no leadership. I mean, are you talking about me? I think the team has leadership for sure. We've seen, veterans like Al Horford really embrace that role. We've seen, Jaylen Brown, like we mentioned, let's not forget, 41 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Yeah, he didn't have the, greatest night at the free throw line, but he still excelled. The team has no leadership. I'm still gonna believe in this team. I'm still gonna, fight for them. I'm still gonna truly believe. I'm a Celtics fan. I want them to succeed. I want them to do great. And yeah, we lost a game versus a competent Denver Nuggets team who is very, very good. They did beat us on our home floor. They gave us our first home loss. But this is a little bit of a wake-up call for the Celtics squad. Let's not forget that the Celtics were on a 11-game win streak, blowing teams out by 20 plus, and had a margin of victory after the Golden State Warriors game in their last total 5 games of 30 plus points. This team can win against those bad teams, and yeah, it's going to be tough when they get into these tough playoff situations, but like we saw tonight, we can have a bunch of versatility with this squad, running with Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Xavier Tillman. We didn't use Luke Cornett, but I'm sure he can be, used in different series and used for different matchups, like he was used versus the Cleveland Cavaliers compared to Xavier Tillman. Obviously, versus Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, you're going to want the length of Luke Cornett. I also think that, Sam Hauser played a pretty solid game and is looking like he can improve and play some great playoff minutes for this squad. Yeah, we might not have a true leader. We did lose Marcus Smart. We do have a bunch of guys that are wanting to compete and, take that leadership role, Jaylen Brown and stuff like that. But truly, Jaylen Brown came out and showed us that he can put this team on his back and help out. Yeah, Tatum had a bad night, and that's unfortunate, but let's not come over here and crucify Jason Tatum and treat him like he's the worst player. Does an MVP candidate supposed to step up against a team that beat them in their building? I don't get it. Larry Bird would have never let this happen. I understand your frustrations. I totally do. This Celtics team, like I mentioned, Jason Tatum is definitely going to get a lot of slack over the next couple of days for, not performing tonight versus Nikola Jokic. We're all going to see this slander and hear this slander all over the national media. But let's be real here. Yeah, does he deserve to be an MVP candidate? Yeah, but is he going to win the MVP? No. All of us Celtics fans genuinely know that. We know that he's not going to win. We know that Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they're all averaging better numbers. It's just the fact that Tatum gets disrespected for, people calling him out for his 2022 finals run and how that's supposed to affect his MVP race. That's where I personally get affected and personally feel bad for Jason Tatum, because you're bringing up past stuff that he lost in the finals, which obviously he's grown as a player and has gotten better. Tony Brothers throwing out text doesn't help. I totally agree, Josh Crampton. It was a tough loss, but we'll definitely bounce back. This game, not definitive. Nothing. I truly think good crazy. I feel like we're going to be okay. I feel like we're going to be okay. We have to stay calm. We have to be locked in. And like I mentioned, we're going to have these tough games. I'm looking at the Celtics road trip right here. We lost to Cleveland. Yeah, we lost to Denver. We got 3 games coming up versus the Suns, Blazers, and Jazz. And ultimately, if we can, get a big statement win versus the Phoenix Suns versus Kevin Durant. I know there's no Devin Booker, but we're definitely going to need that. If we can get a big statement win versus them and also pull off, 2 successful wins versus the Blazers and Jazz, then I think we're looking okay heading back to Boston. Obviously, we still got, a bunch of games left to the end of April, but once we hit, beginning of April, mid-April, we'll be fine. The Celtics are still going to have this 1 seed. They're still going to be, chilling and locked that up, and there's no worries. Like, we lose a couple games, that's what happens. The fact that the Celtics hadn't lost back-to-back games since November is, a great thing, something that you want to be proud of, something that you want to, feel accomplished with, feel, happy to see. And the fact that they, just suffered that, it's, kind of a shot in the arm. You want to see your team win, but it's nothing to overreact about. Everyday Gaming says Jaylen Brown is the best player. It should be no question on that going forward. I think so too. I mean, I think he deserves his respect. If the Celtics had won this game, there would have been a thumbnail with Jaylen Brown and saying to respect him, because he truly put this team on his back. He showed that the Celtics need him. They need his style. They need his tempo of play. And that's what I think a lot of Celtics fans didn't understand is the Celtics need to have this 3-point shooting team with, Jason Tatum and Kristaps Porzingis and Derek White. They have to have the ability to do that, but they also have to have the ability, if that's not working, to be able to attack the rim and be able to beat these teams with physical force. And I know the Celtics didn't play with true physical force tonight. They played very lazy on the defensive side of the ball. But what we did see was Jaylen Brown attacking that rim and proving to Celtics fans that he's going to go 100%. Even as he's missing those free throws, which is, a shot in the arm. It's definitely tough to see. He's pushing himself. Even when the Celtics are down 10, 12, he's still attacking that rim, trying to get those and ones. And as a Celtics fan, for me, that's something I want to see. I'm not frustrated. I know Tatum is not that player. I've been a fan since Bill Russell created the franchise. No worries, Dennis. I understand. Hearing it from my grandmother and hearing it from the olden days, I know that there's, some Celtics fans that want this toughness. They want this, instilled. I personally haven't watched Larry Bird. I'm I'm not into that time, but I understand that, there was a little bit hard-nosed and, grit from, the Grizzlies that was known in the Celtics. And we haven't really seen that with guys like Tatum and Brown, which Brown, I think, has kind of expressed that a little bit more recently. But Tatum, I ain't going to lie, he played a little bit soft tonight, and that was it was not the greatest. He had some sloppy passes. It just wasn't the greatest Jason Tatum night tonight. But, again, he's not a robot. He's not perfect. He's not going to play 100% every single game. And we can't expect that out of all of our guys. We're going to have some, chokes. We're going to have some games where we have some tough battles and we lose to some good teams. But in all honesty, if the Celtics can just keep a steady pace and not go on a terrible losing streak, then I think there's nothing to worry about. There's no fear. I love Tatum. I really do, but we have to be honest. Conversation, it breaks my heart because I love Tatum. Tatum just needs to Tatum just needs to, I'm sorry, I can't read it, back out and give it, and at least and give us 25. We win that game. Yeah, I also think hitting the free throws definitely was a big game changer for this squad. Like we mentioned, the Celtics shot a total of 64% from the free throw line. They weren't that physical on the defensive side of the ball. We saw late in that fourth quarter, Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic were just absolutely feasting all over those boards, getting not easy, but they were fighting for those putbacks, and they were getting them. And even though Celtics were trying their best, we saw them use different lineups on the defensive side of the ball. We saw them try to use Drew Holiday. We saw them try to use Kristaps Porzingis. We even saw them use Xavier Tillman early on in the first quarter. It just didn't really happen out for the Celtics team tonight, unfortunately. And like we mentioned, this Denver Nuggets team is really good. Like, they beat us on our home court last time, and even though the Celtics could have won that game as well like this one, I'm sure that if we have a final series versus this Nuggets team, and this is the NBA Finals, it's going to be a bloodbath. The Celtics aren't going to get embarrassed like this every single night. And there's going to be times where the Denver Nuggets, role players miss, and the Celtics role players are constantly hitting. So that's where I stand on this. Yeah, Jalen doesn't get the credit he deserves. It's always Tatum. Of course, Dennis Brown. That's the one thing that I really don't like about the discourse of Celtics fans, is because tonight, obviously, Jaylen Brown has his career high, or not career high, his season high, and you're going to see fans not slandering him because, missing those free throws, he does deserve a little bit of, like, discourse, but you're going to see players, hate on Tatum a little bit, but you're not going to see the discourse that you would if Jaylen Brown had that type of night. If Jason Tatum had 42 points tonight, had his career high, and Jaylen Brown had the night that Jason Tatum did, I'm sure that Celtics Twitter, or just Twitter in general, would be clowning Jaylen Brown, which is just absolutely disrespectful at some points. And JB stepped up, like Josh Crampton just said, JB stepped up as their leader tonight, even though we lost. It's still great to see. Exactly. He stepped up and proved that he can do this for the Celtics squad. And that's what I want to see out of JB, proving everybody wrong, and taking those haters grain of salt and just rubbing on the back of him. Jaylen Brown has excelled ever since this All-Star break. He's truly transforming in front of us, and it's looking fantastic. Sorry, I'm saying Tatum needed to box out Aaron Gordon because Brown went to help, which was the right play by Tatum. Has to box out Gordon. Tatum needed at least 25. Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He needed to box out Aaron Gordon. That's the problem. That was the Celtics' problem right there. It's down low late in the game. It was just easy feastings for them. They just didn't seem locked in physically defensively. They looked a little bit lazy some points here and there. And also were just, lazy at passing the ball. We saw multiple times the Celtics get bad turnovers, either from bad passes with them not able to catch the ball, just lazy passes. We saw Jason Tatum throw the ball out of bounds a couple of times. And obviously, the refs we'll be real here. The refs weren't the greatest for both sides. We saw Nikola Jokic yelling at the refs multiple times and not getting a tech. We saw Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum clap a little bit and get a tech. So it's a little bit of weird discourse here, unfortunately. Denver Nuggets is a beautiful team to show. They move the ball. They do move the ball. They do look great. And like I mentioned, their role players on their bench tonight really stepped up for their team. Christian Braun was hitting shots. We saw Peyton Watson hit some big shots and also get some big-time blocks for them on the defensive side of the ball, finishing with a plus 11. And that's the tough thing about this Denver team, is they, like Josh Crampton just said, they have great team chemistry. And it's entertaining. I do agree as well. But it's, again, tough for this Celtics team. It's just tough. Yep, Tatum cannot box out players like Gordon. He's too soft. Unfortunately, was a little too soft tonight. And when the Celtics needed him most, like that late game end 3 missed by Jason Tatum in that corner is just the icing on the cake for the end of the night. Unfortunately, it's just it was tough. Because Jaylen Brown got that nice steal, passes to Derek White, they kick it to the corner. Obviously, you want to see Tatum make it. Can't really fault him. He's not going to make every shot, but those are opportunities that he has to make if the Celtics team wants to win this game. We had the Nuggets team in a check except for Joker went off. Joe actually had a good game plan tonight, but the Joker was allowed to travel all night as well as Cupid shuffle all night. Yeah, I won't disagree. He did get some weird calls that were a little bit more favorable to him at the home court advantage. But also the Celtics, to speak to your comment, Everyday Gaming, the Celtics did not excel on the non-Jokic minutes tonight. I saw tweets from Keith Smith all night tonight, tweeting about how the Celtics, the Nuggets were outscoring the Boston Celtics with Nikola Jokic off the floor, which, if you're the Celtics, you just can't allow to happen. You need to be able to stop Nikola. You need to be able to score when Nikola Jokic is on the floor and be able to run those small ball lineups, being able to attack the paint. And Celtics kind of did that a little bit with Kristaps Porzingis in the third quarter, with being a good scorer off that. Besides that, it is just very, very tough for the Celtics to excel at that. I did like Xavier Tillman, though. He did guard Nikola Jokic a little bit, looks solid on the defensive side, and I truly think he can be, one of these versatile bigs that the Celtics have in their rotation for the playoffs. I mean, I don't think he's necessarily going to get, 10, 15 minutes every single night, but depending on the matchups, depending on the playoff series, depending on the look that Joe Mazzulla wants to give this team, Xavier Tillman can do good. Our bench was not the greatest tonight compared to the Nuggets bench. The Nuggets bench definitely outperformed the Celtics bench offensively and defensively. Sam Hauser hit 2 big threes for the Celtics that were like kind of momentum swingers a little bit, keeping the Celtics alive. And he had a good block protecting the rim, which I did love to see as well. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this breakdown here of this post-game live stream. I'm about to cut it off, but thank you guys for everybody that tuned in. I'm going to give this last chat from Peter saying Tatum gave only 50% effort. Yeah, he didn't look the greatest. But I want to say thank you to everyone that tuned into this post-game live stream. Peter, Josh Crampton, Everyday Gaming, Dennis Brown, Good Crazy. Thank you to everyone that T-Snizzle. Thank you to everyone that chatted up in the chat down below here. Thank you guys for tuning in, giving the likes. I'm sorry that the stream had a little bit of a little wacky start, and I'm sorry, unfortunately, I could not get things to get set up today for this stream. Hopefully for the next stream on Saturday for the Phoenix Suns game, we can get the intro going. We can fix all these little tweaks and stuff. I got to mess around with the live stream and stuff like that, but I appreciate you guys for tuning in and sticking out through all the little mini hassles that we had tonight. And thank you guys for tuning into this post-game live stream. We got to break down our thoughts and yours. If you guys enjoy these types of live streams, or if you guys are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned because we greatly, greatly appreciate it. Like I mentioned, we'll have these post-game streams after every game. Unless I let you know that I'm not available to do a post-game stream, you guys should know by now that these post-game streams are going to be happening. So if you guys enjoy stuff like that, breaking down the game and talking like this instead of the YouTube videos and the YouTube content, we greatly appreciate you guys tuning in and joining us because it does a lot for us. Thank you guys so much again for tuning into this stream. Like I mentioned, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. It's very late. It's 1 in the morning here on the East Coast. We got up to 20 viewers at the max, which in my personal opinion does what we've been doing for the past. So that's even fantastic to see that we got some people, maybe not even the time zone, tuning in and checking up on the Celtics, or people staying up late as the diehard fans like myself to watch this team. Like I mentioned, it was a frustrating night for the Celtics, not being able to box out, play that great defense, and not being that physical versus Nikola Jokic ultimately led to some frustrations. Celtics not being able to make some free throws cost them a game as well. Jason Tatum didn't play that great, but Jaylen Brown played fantastic. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this post-game live stream here on Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz, and like I said, thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.